Hello, I'm David Kain. Thank you very much for joining me today. I've got the pleasure of interviewing Nick Cybela, who is the CEO of a company called Flowfound. And what we're going to cover today is one of the coolest tools that we've seen in a long time when it comes to vehicle merchandising, and literally allowing your guests to have an experience online on a mobile device or on a desktop to where they literally can be in the vehicle that you're trying to sell them. So Nick, welcome to the broadcast today, and thank you very much for taking time for this interview. Tell me, if you would, a little bit about yourself and about your company and how you came to move in the direction of virtual reality video.
Yeah, thank you for hosting me.
Sure, welcome.
So I got my start back in 2007, a few weeks before everything crashed, and I've seen some really interesting similarities between that time as well as really what's happened from COVID. Throughout those years in between, I had a tremendous opportunity to serve the dealer side as head of digital for AMSI's around 130 stores when I was there, and then for one of the premier agencies. But today, as you mentioned, I'm the CEO of Flowfound, where we've been able to help provide dealers a reason why buy for customers beyond just price and availability. A way to kind of leverage this increased online activity since COVID to bring them into the store and be excited about driving a vehicle off the lot.
That's cool. And I think what's interesting about it is your tool does something that we have talked about quite a bit, where we say internally, and we're teaching our clients this, is experience is the new brand. And when you look across the spectrum of how consumers shop for any kind of product, whether it's a camera, a computer, a mattress, all these things that typically would have a tactical practical perspective where you have to physically go into and have your hands on something, this gives the touchless type of experience for the guests that really festers within them a need to really want to go into a dealership. And I think that's one of the things that we teach on a daily basis is we want to magnetize that guest to where they do want to come in and participate at the showroom or at their home, but they definitely want to spend more time in the vehicle. So if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about why this type of 360 video product is an enhancement over what we commonly see, which is a stitching of still images. And we talk about it all the time, is you can't just take photos of the vehicle. They've got to be beautiful photos. They've got to be almost like artwork. What have you seen from an evolutionary standpoint that makes you feel as though this is the next point in the process?
Yeah, without a doubt, the right, beautiful vehicle photos are a key part of that buying process. I mean, as you look at Google Analytics or any of the website analytics, people do engage with photos. And 360 photos, as we've seen, kind of that stitching process is a really cool way to show that. But I bring it back to something that happened to me last night, where I was scrolling through my Netflix and trying to decide what to watch, and basically woke up this morning with the remote pressed against my face. And if I couldn't make that decision with one of the smartest machine learning engines out there for the next 20 minutes, I think that it's really a dealer's opportunity to understand that they're selling the second most expensive thing that most people will buy. They're going to have questions, but really they come to the dealer to be convinced. So to me, 360 video is the opportunity to convince a customer to get off the couch, put down their device, and come into the store by showing the safety, performance, and features and highlighting how exciting and powerful and effective they really are today. And it's...
So I think, you hit on something that's really important. And when you said the word device, how important is the device? And when you think in terms of when you all develop the tool, the focus on mobile devices to desktop, and I assume you have to do both because if 70% of people are actually shopping on mobile, that means there's still a huge percent that are shopping on desktops or some sort of blend thereof. So why the focus on mobile? And when I'm in a mobile environment, why does your VR type system really enhance the video experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's interesting because on the dealer end, the greatest challenge is often getting somebody into that car. But the opportunity with mobile is everybody already has a mobile device and they've already hopped in the vehicle there when it comes to video. So this is a spectacular chance to really allow them to transport them directly inside the vehicle for a one-on-one personalized tour of the things that dealers already do a great job of, which is why you want to come into the store, what makes that vehicle great, in a time where a lot of customers may not be as willing to leave their home, and where the data suggests it's an unprecedented opportunity to leverage that increase in online activity into a very loyal, very engaged customer.
So what's it look like? I guess that's probably the next question that the people watching this will want to know is, can I experience it firsthand myself? Is there a way that you could do a demonstration of it?
Yeah, so I often hear that over 70% of a dealer's traffic is now mobile. So we wanted to start mobile first, directly on the dealer's website, to make sure that everything remains inside of the current internet process and is empowering the team. So I'll just hold up a phone and we can kind of look here. So I've actually loaded this on a dealer site. And as we look here, you can see that salesperson, my camera.
Yeah, that
there we go.
is up well.
And I can actually physically turn this to explore, and you see there's motion graphics really highlighting the next steps. I can even look out of the sunroof or the window, or I can just physically turn the phone itself to be able to kind of look through there. So this is something where a lot of people kind of load it on their phone and they look at it, and you can just see their face light up as they realize they can really take control and begin exploring this interior view and explanation of the most exciting features.
Well, so taking that into the metrics, so if I'm a dealership, one of the key things that I'm looking for is a high level of engagement with my inventory when someone goes to the website. So are you able to demonstrate growth in time spent looking at the product because they are using this kind of virtual reality experience?
Yeah, the average time spent on site winds up being over 12 minutes when they've also taken a test drive online. And one of the really interesting things is that across various case studies we've done with the Pohanka group, the Weiler group, the Johnson group, they've universally found that people are about 3 to 5 times more likely to click on take a test drive online where they're shown that phone demo that I just gave you, than are likely to click on a monthly offer that we know works. That price offer is often the most compelling thing a dealer can put out there. And we've had some really good ones since COVID has come out. But even despite that, it can be the best lure in the tackle box to really engage a customer in a way that also doesn't hurt margin and allows you to have a much deeper conversation faster in that research process.
So I guess probably from a process standpoint and a tactic standpoint, because that's the world that I live in, we spend a lot of time in website design and consumer engagement on the website, but then post the visit to the website, or even during the visit to the website, we're spending a lot of time teaching the aspects of digital retailing and how that consumer can really engage and spend more time with it. But if I'm a salesperson, I'm going to want to send a link to that video and experience firsthand, even in a screen share situation like we're in. I like to say, so Nick, what do you think? Did you see that feature? And I guess the other question I have is, how much flexibility do you have? Can you go forward? Can they go back? Can they hit on a feature? What are some of the technical aspects that we need to consider here?
Yeah, it fully integrates to the current internet process. That's why we created things to really live on the website. It might even make sense for me to share my screen here.
That'd be great.
And show one of the websites.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see that by default, we're going to show the best available vehicle, but it goes down all the way to a VIN-specific level. And it's integrated to each of these vehicles, just like a YouTube button. It's even red. Okay. So as you click this, this is going to load a really compelling experience of a vehicle. And you can even maximize it to get a good sense of resolution in other areas here. We are now inside of the board. So as we're looking, it's the exact same thing where you can physically click and drag in this case to look around, look at your product expert, and then also see exactly how these work. So if you notice, there's some motion graphics actually highlighting how adaptive cruise control is going to keep you safe and going to work.
That is so cool. So literally, I'm inside the vehicle, and if I'm curious about a product, we're all the time saying to the customer, "Oh, you're not going to believe it what it feels like," and it's almost as though you're a passenger going along in this test drive, and particularly while we're trying to promote the touchless environment. And one of our clients, I liked what they said. One of the word tracks that they use is in order for you to be safe and healthy, here's what we recommend you do. So I think this would be a logical integration when I send this to the client, or even if I'm doing a screen share and say, let's click on this together to where we can actually go in and hit on that. But I do have a couple of just overall questions. I don't think you have the capacity to go videotape millions of pieces of inventory. Are we looking at a kind of a subset of what the products are that the dealer would have, and this would be kind of fit nearly every make and model, or how does that work?
Yeah, we have over 500 videos in stock right now, because one of the big pieces of feedback we get from a lot of stores is that working with a top 50 store of that brand with their top product expert winds up working better from an implementation perspective than trying to corral a salesperson, taking them away from selling cars. So we've got customizable versions of each of those and can absolutely come filmed uniquely, but the vast majority of our clients prefer something that can be more quickly executed and customized for them versus something where we have to come out and take a salesperson away from their day.
So it sounds as though we could do either, right? So if I'm a dealership and I say, well, I really want these all about our dealership, our community. I want people to be able to see the roads that they're going to be driving on. But more likely, dealers are going to say, well, let's just see how it works first. So let's plug and play with what you have available for us.
Exactly. I think at the end of the day, what most dealers really care about is the leads and, more importantly, showroom. So we took that from a first look and just said, well, what are people searching for? What's going to drive the biggest impact? And we did things even like just Googling Ford virtual test drive is going to bring up the first 3 results are all stores that are running these types of test drives. And we found a ton of just fascinating search trends since COVID and before then, but especially since COVID, that we've been able to absolutely dominate and bring forth. And that's really what it's about in terms of driving a result to the dealers themselves.
So when you talk about results, we talked about time spent online. The net effect is, am I getting phone calls? Am I getting form fills? Is the customer walking into my showroom? So are you seeing evidence to support that the videos are driving the results you're looking for the dealers?
Yeah, so I'll speak to the dealer case studies. Kevin Fry at the Weiler organization ran a really interesting case study where he tested take a virtual test drive against everything that was kind of tried and true over this multi-generation dealer group that really dominates the local area. And he found that customers were 5 times more likely to click on an ad showing this new mobile type of experience, talking about test driving online, then we're likely to click on the monthly offers that had traditionally always been the top performing in terms of driving engagement to the stores. So we were delighted to see that and wanted to see if the same was true in the Northeast. So we worked with the Pohanka group and we found the same thing, that it was always one of those top 3 campaigns. For them, it was social ads, where this is something you can talk about. It's something you can put in your marketing, but unlike many other things that are incredibly valuable and effective, such as the first service for free or lifetime warranty, this is one that was not going to impact margin on a per car basis and didn't require a large change to the in-store process.
Wow. So Nick, here's what's really cool about it is this is something that someone actually could implement right away. So if I had a client, and believe me, I'm going to make sure all of my clients get to watch this video and this demo, how quickly can something like this be deployed at a dealership? And could we look at deployment during this month, or does it have a long lead time? What does it look like?
Yeah, we're focused in really in collaboration with the dealers. We know that they've been closed for a while, so we can get it up same day, and then it's just going to depend on the website provider's ability to place the script. I'd say with almost all of the major providers, we're a preferred certified partner. So those are all back-end integrations where it's as easy as flipping a switch and doesn't require any real substantial support work.
Cool. So looking at the Flowfound portfolio of services, is there anything else noteworthy that you'd like to utilize this interview for to talk about other things you do and what you're proud of within your company?
The pieces that I'm excited about are the unprecedented opportunities that have emerged really recently for dealers to leverage this online audience. I think one of the challenges I'm continually hearing is that they're moving more money to digital, and frankly, they've had to cut money recently, but are still not clear on exactly what they're getting. So beyond this 360 video that's going to help merchandise, that's going to help provide a reason to come into the store, the second element of this, and a really important one that kind of closes the gap of what's the impact it is bringing and how can this help reduce costs overall, is simply that our reporting comes through a text message. So throughout the month, we'll actually text dealers, letting them know what's happening, the opportunities that we're seeing, and where they could save money. Those are really the two pieces we feel are most effective today and are a little bit different than what else is out there.
Wow, that's cool. So I literally could be in a meeting, I get a text and it says, give me an example of what a message would look like.
Yeah, so recently we found that one of the most common emerging things has been dealers bidding on Amazon-related terms, so especially parts, so brakes for sale on Amazon. And those just aren't converting, as well as the upcoming models for some of the manufacturers are coming out, but a lot are spending money. So we found about $1,200 across the stores that we were running this on average, was being wasted on this for terms that just weren't converting around the upcoming model that wasn't in stock or parts related to Amazon. So that was, and I didn't find it, but the system did. And it just sent a text out and said, hey, we noticed this was a pattern. Reply 1 to act, 2 to follow it, and 3 to ignore it. And then that ultimately kind of informs in terms of how important that was to the dealer itself. So it kind of creates a dialogue instead of an end-of-month report, which I think is really essential, especially given how challenging things may become.
Wow, this is really cool. So I always get excited when I run into companies that are offering something that I've not seen before. I started in the business in 1982, and I've seen a lot of innovation over the years. I spend a lot of time going to the Consumer Electronics Show each year and walking the floor and seeing what other industries are doing with different types of merchandising tools. And I'm so thrilled to see it happen through a company that I really respect and admire. And Nick, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
I trust that people on your team would be open to people watching this video to reach out to you. We'll provide your information and make sure that if they do have questions, and notably they'll have questions about pricing and availability of models and such for their brand. But thanks so much for spending time with us, and I look forward to learning more about how this is helping dealers throughout the country. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.